When we got to that point and looked at it on screen, I was shocked that I wasn't more attractive. And I said, now you have me looking like a woman.
What do you think of Dustin Hoffman's typical personality? Perfectionism to the point of being annoying. Few people know that behind that halo are tense conflicts on set, to the fact that Hoffman himself admitted to hating an actor with all his heart. So who was that person? What made their relationship so bad? Let's discover the truth behind this tense backstage. But before we get to the heated conflict, let's take a look back at Dustin Hoffman's surprising journey from a guy who was once criticized as not handsome enough to be an actor to a Hollywood icon. Is this journey the reason for his perfectionism? What caused such a spectacular rise? The rise of an unlikely star. Dustin Hoffman's path to stardom represents one of Hollywood's most unexpected success stories. Standing at just 5'6" tall with unconventional looks, he defied the traditional image of a leading man, yet managed to become one of the industry's most respected actors. Hoffman's acting journey began at the Pasadena Playhouse alongside fellow student Gene Hackman. Although both were voted least likely to succeed during their 2 years there, this harsh assessment didn't deter them. Following Hackman's lead, Hoffman relocated to New York City, subsequently rooming with both Hackman and another struggling actor, Robert Duvall. The early New York years proved challenging as Hoffman took on numerous odd jobs to survive, working as a coat check clerk, fragrance tester, demonstrating toys at Macy's, stringing Hawaiian leis, and even serving as an attendant at the New York Psychiatric Institute. Throughout this period, he methodically built his acting career from walk-ons to one-line parts to supporting roles. Determined to hone his craft, Hoffman joined the actor studio and studied with method acting guru Lee Strasberg, who had previously guided stars like James Dean and Marilyn Monroe. Eventually, his persistence paid off with his Broadway debut in A Cook for Mr. General in 1961, followed by significant off-Broadway performances in Three Men on a Horse and Harry Noon and Night with Joel Grey. His breakthrough came in 1966 with critically acclaimed performances in The Journey of the Fifth Horse, for which he won an Obie Award, and the play E, which earned him a Drama Desk Award. These successes caught the attention of film producers, leading to his movie debut in The Tiger Makes Out. Director Mike Nichols made a revolutionary decision that forever altered Hollywood when he cast Hoffman as Benjamin Braddock in The Graduate. Though Hoffman initially felt wrong for the part, telling Nichols, "I'm not right for this part. Benjamin Braddock is tall, he's blonde, and he's Anglo-Saxon. I'm too Jewish." Nichols saw something unique in him. The film became a cultural phenomenon upon its release in December 1967. The Graduate grossed almost $105 million, making it the third highest grossing film at that time. It broke house records in about 40% of its engagements and continued to swell in popularity rather than tapering off. Within its first 6 months, it grossed more than $35 million, crossed 950 theaters. Critics praised the film extensively. Stanley Kaufman wrote in The New Republic that it was a milestone in American film history. The film received 7 Academy Award nominations, with Hoffman earning his first Best Actor nomination. Time magazine called him a symbol of youth who represented a new breed of actors. Ironically, what once made Hoffman seemingly uncastable became his greatest asset. As screenwriter Buck Henry noted, a whole generation changed its idea of what guys should look like. I think Dustin's physical being brought a sort of social and visual change in the same way people first thought of Bogart. They called him ugly. Hoffman's success shocked even his friends, with one remarking, "You were the last one I expected to make it." His unconventional appearance for a leading man broke Hollywood's long-standing mold, creating new possibilities for actors who didn't fit the traditional handsome hero archetype. Filmmaker Steven Soderbergh later described Hoffman's casting in The Graduate as the seminal event in the defining of motion picture leading men in the last 50 years. Rather than hiding his ordinary looks, Hoffman turned them into an advantage that helped audiences connect with his characters. As Turner Classic Movies critic Rob Nixon observed, Hoffman represented a new generation of actors who brought a new candor, ethnicity, and eagerness to dive deep into complex, even unlikable characters. Consequently, Hoffman's rise proved that Hollywood could have both its cake and its art. Commercially successful films could feature unconventional leads, forever expanding the possibilities of who could become a movie star. But that surprising rise came not only from talent, but also from a prominent trait, almost obsessive perfectionism. But is that perfectionism the key to success, or is it also what pushes Dustin Hoffman into stressful conflicts later? Perfectionism and its consequences. Behind Hoffman's meteoric rise to fame stood an uncompromising dedication to his craft that often veered into extreme perfectionism. This meticulous approach to acting, moreover, became both his greatest strength and most significant liability throughout his storied career. Hoffman's relentless pursuit of authenticity made him notoriously challenging for many filmmakers.
On the set of Marathon Man, his commitment to method acting reached legendary status when he deliberately stayed awake for days to appear authentically exhausted for a scene.
This prompted his co-star Sir Laurence Olivier to famously quip, "My dear boy, why don't you try acting? It's much easier." His perfectionism extended beyond his performance. Hoffman frequently questioned directors about camera angles, lighting choices, and even attempted to direct other actors' performances. As a result, many filmmakers found themselves locked in creative battles with the actor, whose intensity often overwhelmed production schedules. Film critic Roger Ebert once noted that Hoffman's perfectionism came from a place of insecurity rather than he feels he must compensate for his height and unconventional looks by giving 200% to every role, Ebert wrote, highlighting how Hoffman's physical attributes, standing at 5'6", potentially fueled his determination to prove himself. Perhaps no director-actor relationship better exemplifies Hoffman's difficult reputation than his collaboration with Sidney Pollack on Tootsie. From the outset, tension permeated their partnership. Hoffman had developed the concept for 10 years before Pollack came aboard, yet the director immediately challenged Hoffman's vision. Their fundamental disagreement centered on whether Tootsie was a comedy or a serious exploration of gender. Pollack saw it primarily as a comedic vehicle, whereas Hoffman insisted on treating his character's transformation with profound authenticity. This clash resulted in numerous heated arguments that sometimes halted production entirely. Pollack later admitted, "Working with Dustin is like walking through a minefield. His ideas are brilliant. Nonetheless, he often doesn't understand that film is a collaborative medium, despite their conflicts, or perhaps because of them." Tootsie became one of the most critically acclaimed films of Hoffman's career, earning him an Academy Award nomination and grossing over $107 to Warner Bros. 7. The filming of Hook in 1991 provided yet another example of Hoffman's difficult on-set behavior. As Captain Hook, opposite Robin Williams' Peter Pan, Hoffman reportedly clashed with director Steven Spielberg over character interpretations. Specifically, Hoffman wanted to explore Hook's psychological complexity, whereas Spielberg envisioned a more straightforward antagonist for the family film. According to crew members, Hoffman frequently arrived late to set after spending hours in makeup perfecting his appearance. Additionally, he repeatedly requested script revisions, arguing that certain lines lacked authenticity for his character. These demands strained his relationship with Spielberg, who was struggling to manage the already complicated production. Julia Roberts, who played Tinkerbell in the film, later described the set as tense due to the creative differences between the director and his stars. "You had these incredibly talented people who all had different ideas about what the film should be," she explained. The creative tension affected the final product, with critics noting the uneven tone of Hook. It is this extreme perfectionism that has made Dustin Hoffman a nightmare on set many times. So who has ever faced him? And what happened behind the scenes of famous movies? Which names are mentioned? The co-stars who clashed with Hoffman's perfectionist approach, along with his unconventional methods, created notable tensions with several high-profile co-stars throughout his career. Standing at just 5'6", Dustin Hoffman's height never deterred him from challenging even the most established actors and directors in Hollywood. The 1979 film Kramer vs. Kramer showcased not only award-winning performances, but also concealed genuine conflict between its stars. During filming, Hoffman allegedly slapped Streep without warning before their first scene together. This was my first movie, and it was my first take in my first movie, and he just slapped me. Streep later revealed it was overstepping. Their tension escalated when Hoffman reportedly taunted Streep by whispering John Cazale, the name of her recently deceased partner, before an emotional courtroom scene. Surprisingly, during another pivotal moment, Hoffman smashed a wine glass against a wall without warning her, prompting Streep to snap back. "I've got pieces of glass in my hair." Ironically, despite these conflicts, both actors won Academy Awards for their performances. Best Actor for Hoffman and Best Supporting Actress. Particularly revealing of Hoffman's extreme approach was an incident during the filming of Marathon Man with legendary actor Laurence Olivier. To prepare for a scene where his character hadn't slept for 3 days, Hoffman reportedly stayed awake for 72 hours. Upon learning this, Olivier delivered what became one of acting's most famous retorts. "My dear boy, why don't you try acting? It's much easier." This exchange highlighted the stark contrast between Hoffman's method intensity and Olivier's more traditional technique. In contrast to these confrontational relationships, Hoffman's connection with Tom Cruise began unexpectedly. During a New York restaurant visit in 1984, Cruise's sister spotted Hoffman and insisted her brother introduce himself. "If you don't do it, I'm just going to go over there and tell him who you are," she told Cruise. The encounter led to tickets for Hoffman's Broadway performance in Death of a Salesman and ultimately their collaboration on Rain Man. Remarkably, Cruise later revealed they spent 2 years working together on the film, with Hoffman sharing his techniques from Kramer vs. Their partnership proved fruitful as Rain Man won the Academy Award for Best Picture, along with Best Director for Levinson and Best Actor for Hoffman. Unlike his earlier confrontational collaborations, this relationship demonstrated how Hoffman's intense style could positively influence younger actors when approached collaboratively. Of all the co-stars Dustin Hoffman has clashed with, there is one that he can't forget. So much so that Hoffman himself has admitted that he hates the most in his career. So who was that actor? And what caused their relationship to deteriorate so badly? The actor hates the most. That's it. For a man standing 5'6" tall, Dustin Hoffman certainly cast a giant shadow of controversy throughout his career. Perhaps ironically, the actor Hoffman himself admits to hating the most appears to be his own behavior, especially regarding his treatment of Meryl Streep during Kramer vs. Kramer. The tension between Hoffman and Streep began immediately on set. Hoffman, fresh from his real-life divorce, seemed to blur the lines between fiction and reality. "I'm sure I was acting out on her throughout the movie," he later confessed to the Huffington Post. "Stuff that I was feeling toward the wife that I was divorcing in real life." This method approach led to disturbing behavior. Beyond the previously mentioned slapping incident, Hoffman reportedly whispered John Cazale, the name of Streep's recently deceased partner, before an emotional courtroom scene to provoke a genuine reaction from her. Essentially, Hoffman admitted using Streep's real grief as a manipulative tool for performance. The breaking point came when Streep requested script changes to give her character a more progressive dimension. Hoffman, already preparing for scenes in their original form, reportedly lashed out, "Meryl, why don't you stop carrying the flag for feminism and just act the scene?" Coupled with the physical and emotional boundary violations, these confrontations created lasting damage. Even after they both won Academy Awards for their performances, their professional relationship remained strained. Since then, Streep has spoken candidly about the experience. "It was overstepping, but I think those things are being corrected in this moment." Years after the incidents, facing mounting criticism about his behavior, Hoffman finally acknowledged his misconduct. "I have the utmost respect for women and feel terrible that anything I might have done could have put her in an uncomfortable situation," he stated. "I am sorry. It is not reflective of who I am." Given these points, the revelation became even more significant when confronted by John Oliver during a 2017 public Q&A. When Oliver pressed him about the allegations, Hoffman defensively responded that incidents didn't happen the way she reported and asked Oliver to keep an open mind. Yet his attempted defense only intensified scrutiny of his past actions. The admission was not just a personal confession, but also revealed a deep-seated feud that affected the way Dustin Hoffman viewed his work and his future roles. Did that tension change the direction of his career? And what mark did it leave on the films he appeared in? Influence. After the highly publicized tensions with Meryl Streep during Kramer vs. Kramer, Hoffman noticeably shifted his collaborative patterns. Indeed, the two never worked together again, despite both continuing as leading Hollywood figures. This pattern extended beyond Streep. Hoffman seemingly became more selective about directors and co-stars following other difficult productions like Hook with Spielberg. Interestingly, how tall Dustin Hoffman stands physically became less relevant than how carefully he stood his ground professionally. Many industry insiders noted his increasing tendency to seek projects where he maintained greater creative control. This shift manifested in his later career through producing roles alongside acting, giving him authority over production environments. The Kramer vs. Kramer incident ultimately served as a turning point in Hoffman's approach to method acting. Amid growing awareness about workplace conduct, Hoffman's intensity gradually moderated. By the time he filmed Rain Man, his techniques had evolved toward less confrontational methods. Meanwhile, his perfectionism remained intact, yet channeled differently. Rather than manipulating emotional responses from co-stars, he focused more on technical precision and character study. Who is Dustin Hoffman? Became a question with a more nuanced answer. Still a perfectionist, yet one who had reconsidered boundaries.
The height of Dustin Hoffman's career coincided with an era before social media scrutiny, yet his reputation developed distinct phases.
Before the Me Too movement, his difficult on-set behavior was often romanticized as artistic dedication. Afterwards, these same stories underwent reinterpretation. Throughout time, his legacy remains complex, simultaneously celebrated for groundbreaking performances while criticized for problematic behavior. Regardless, Hoffman's conflicts undeniably shaped both his personal choices and Hollywood's evolving standards for on-set conduct. Though hailed as one of Hollywood's greatest actors, Dustin Hoffman's perfectionism and behind-the-scenes conflicts have been controversial. What do you think about perfectionism in acting? Is it a factor that contributes to success or a double-edged sword that isolates an artist? Please share your thoughts in the comment section below. We would love to hear from you. And don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more interesting updates. Thank you, and see you in the next video.